Thank you, Marie-Alix. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 2021 Annual General Meeting. This year, our assembly will take place again virtually. I'm hopeful the situation will improve and we will have the opportunity to meet again soon. While we are getting familiar with the situation, the CFA Society France stands ready to reopen our educational and social event in an in-person format as soon as possible. But first, let me start this AGM with a review of the transformational period we went through over the past 3 years. As you might remember, with the board of directors, we committed back in 2018 to transform our association into a professional body relying on advocacy and professional development. To reach this objective, we first signed a 3-year agreement with CFA Institute, providing us with additional resources. Our objective was to set up a sustainable future aligned with our values and with member expectations. You certainly remember Marie-Alix de Meyer joined the society in 2019 as a first employee, and we quickly opened our permanent office. The following year, CFA Society France hired Bernard Coupet and Alexis Nesto to professionalize the advocacy committee while investing in our platform and launching new initiatives to develop our activities. And this year, we finalized this long journey with the acquisition of a professional company and the hiring of Nathalie Colimelli as the executive director. As we speak, we are already reaping the first benefit of this strategy. Over the past 3 years, our membership base increased by 12% despite the recent headwinds due to the COVID disruption. More importantly, many new committees were launched by an increasing number of volunteers in various fields, from ESG to macroeconomics, technology, diversity, or insurance. I take the opportunity to thank all members who dedicate so much energy for our community. Our professional learning offering was launched successfully last year with a certificate in ESG investing, followed by other initiatives such as soft skills. And importantly, CFA Society France strengthened its visibility in its ecosystem. We engage frequently with large institutions who are also key employers. We have regular publications in the media, a unique relationship with the academic world, and ongoing discussions with regulators and professional bodies. Thanks to the professionalization of the society, to our international affiliation, and to our domestic network, we are well positioned to promote our value and the CFA Charter. We are now ready to launch a full catalogue of professional learning solutions adapted to the financial industry. Finally, while executing on the Society 2.0 project, CFA Society France has strengthened its foundation. We diversified our source of revenues, which were multiplied by 3 over the period, and thanks to a sound cash position, we can self-fund our future growth and investments. What's more, over the past 3 years, we proactively align our governance with a more complex organization while focusing on openness, transparency, and accountability. We have clear separation of roles and responsibilities between the board and the executive team, and we can rely on a transition framework to prevent any disruption. With all these key achievements, we will continue to execute our mission while keeping in mind we are and we will remain a volunteer-based association. Nevertheless, despite all the progress made, we are conscious of the many challenges ahead of us. Structural trends are accelerating in our industry. The partnership between the executive team, the volunteers, and CFA Institute is progressively adapting to the new environment, and connection must be rebuilt with the members. I'm confident the newly elected board, the executive team, and the committee heads will bring a new strategic direction to the society so we can build on our collective achievement for the future. Thank you again for your attention. So let me pass the floor to Nathalie.
Dear members, I'm thrilled to have joined CFA Society France as the Executive Director since January, working hand in hand with Alejandro Iniesta and Marie-Alix de Meyer, the board and our engaged volunteers, along with the development of finance training. It's been a challenging and very rewarding first semester. The 2021 annual report was published recently, and I trust you read all the achievements accomplished. I wish to highlight several key elements that, to me, best represent what we collectively achieved. First of all, 80% of our members registered to at least one of our 38 events. We launched a 3-session soft skills series to dig into our emotional intelligence and a Tuesday job offers, thanks to our relationships with headhunters and very welcome spontaneous offers shared by our members. For our CFA candidates, we had to deal with the cancellation of December 2020 exam, which caused thousands of candidates in France to reschedule, for some of them for the second time. We've created and organized CFA mocks in real exam conditions for both Level 1 and 2 candidates. For Level 3 candidates, they could join an essay workshop. We also offer all candidates an ethics workshop to cover with them the CFA code and standards. Regarding the certificate in ESG investing, we were proud that from inception, we have counted 408 registrations, with France ranking number 3 in the world. We also created a collaborative tool where ESG candidates can ask questions to 7 very engaged mentors who passed the exam previously. In order to collaborate and communicate in an easy and efficient way with our volunteers, we moved to the SAC platform and used Trello as our project management tool. To develop more relevant offers to our members and candidates, we have kicked off a collaboration with other CFA societies on Slack. We began sharing best events and services such as our online mock exam and a Level 3 6-hour workshop. Franck Héripel, our treasurer, will now give you a financial picture of our society.
Good evening, everyone. For those that may not know me, my name is Franck Héripel. Since the beginning of the year, I have had the privilege to be part of the board and act as treasurer of the CFA Society France. It has been a pleasure to work with the other directors, and I am honored to share the key financial highlights of this year. As you can see on the slide, revenues were up 55% from last year and reached 654,000 euros. CFA Institute supported the CFA Society France 2.0 project with an extra 152,000 euros, which explains the great increase in revenues. Expenses were also up and reached 626,000 euros, which is a direct result of having a fully staffed physical office. Overall, CFA Society France remains in a very healthy financial situation, with a net positive result of 28,000 euros and a free cash position of 287,000 euros. The operating result was actually flat, and the positive result this year is a consequence of an exceptional revenues which mostly come from unclaimed invoices. As we saw before, Society 2.0 funding remains the most significant revenue contribution at 52%. Membership revenue was stable and accounted for 16%, which represents 106,000 euros. The most outstanding fact of this year is that the share of other revenue generated by CFA Society France more than doubled compared to last year and reached 14% of total revenues. This increase in other revenues is a direct result of our 2.0 strategy and was mainly driven by revenue from computer-based mock exam for candidates, which represent 24,000 euros. Strategic partnerships, which amounts for 23,000 euros. And finally, revenue from candidates registering for the certificate in ESG investing, which represent 9,000 euros. Let's take a look at our expenses. This year, expenses were loop-sided as our expenses reflect the increase of our staff cost, which now represents 72% of total expenses compared to 40% for last year's accounting exercise. This cost increase results from a fully staffed team. The main other cost drivers are investment, 12%, which includes Society 2.0 advisory, and legal fees, committee-related expenses, 9%, and operating expenses, 7%. We can note that this year's expenses were marked by expenses due to the acquisition of finance training and the subsequent legal and study fees, and the reduction in committee and operating expenses due to the pandemic, which largely impacted in-person meetings and events over the past year. Moving along, let's focus on next year's budget, which was voted on by the Board of Directors this past June. Next year's budget will remain stable. Operating revenues will slightly decrease by -1% at 622,000 euros. Still in line with the Strategic 2.0 business plan, CFA Institute funding will however decrease by 65,000 euros. It is expected that this decrease will be more than compensated by other forms of revenue, which should almost double. This includes mock exam, sponsorship and revenue from candidates registered for the certificate in ESG investing. Lastly, CFA Society France can also expect an increase in revenue from our newly acquired training activity. As this project continues to grow, we expect that it will largely contribute to the funding of member services for many years to come. In conclusion, I'd like to highlight once again the healthy financial situation of CFA Society France, which is characterized by solid reserves and revenues. This will enable us to continue our projects underway for the foreseeable future. And now, I'd like to give the floor to Nathalie, who will discuss our 21-22 perspectives.
Our long-term objectives remain the same. Introduce relevant offerings adapted to our members' and candidates' needs and wishes. Further enhance our visibility in the ecosystem. Diversify our sources of revenue. To achieve these goals, we will keep focusing on connect and collaborate. For the year to come, we would like to make it a Let's Meet Again year, mixing virtual and in-person events, and further develop networking opportunities to rebuild social ties with the support of our user-centered website. Less is more. Our focus will be on relevance, diversity, and quality. We will keep on building our soft and leadership skills with headhunters and consultants, on top of digging further into our tech skills such as machine learning or ESG. We have already planned an Earth, Wind, Fire and Water series on ESG. Macroeconomy will definitely also be our focus, given the very active recent research on GDP redefinitions and calculations. We will rely on an even closer collaboration with other societies to give birth to generous and multiple opportunities to best serve our mission to you. We will keep developing our job board and help you continue to thrive in your careers. For our ESG candidates, we've planned to launch an on-demand mock exam with the same format as the CFA mock we developed and offer these mock exams to all foreign candidates. With all these upcoming projects underway, we are very much looking forward to next year.
Thank you, Nathalie. Hello everyone, my name is Joëlle Harb, Vice President of CFA Society France.
And my name is Marie-Alix Semeya, Events and Operations Manager here at CFA Society France.
Given the challenging times, we unfortunately cannot thank our volunteers in person for their hard work and dedication, but we are thrilled to present the winners of this year.
In the first year as a volunteer category, Monica Rebreanu, CFA, had a substantial impact on the ESG committee, overseeing multiple event projects throughout the year.
In the Global Impact category, Philippe Offray, CFA, had a tremendous impact over the years through his major contributions to the Research Challenge, Media Awards, and nominating committees.
In the Global Contribution category, Tingwu Yang, CFA, stood out for her tech contributions, updating our website and providing constant support to the staff and volunteers.
In the Special Award category, Myriam Ferrand, CFA, former president of the Society and volunteer in several committees, made contributions such as the advance of the Quant Awards Committee and the Gibbs Committee. Her never-ending enthusiasm and inspiration are a key contribution to the Society.
Congratulations again to all for an outstanding and very unique year. I now invite Imad, Secretary General, to take the floor.
Dear members, my name is Imad Barake and I have been the Secretary General of CFA France since last September. It has definitely been a transformative year for CFA France. As part of our governance review this year, we began working on a board manual, which is a key document that groups all of our legal documents and procedures in one place. As part of this document, we adopted a new delegation of authority to define the roles and responsibilities between the Board of Directors on one hand and the executive team on the other. In coordination with the Audit Committee, we drafted a risk management policy that identified the major risks faced by our society and identified and implemented corrective measures. Other achievements this year as part of the board manual included the adoption of a reserve policy to manage our substantial cash reserves. We also updated our rules of procedure to allow the executive director to nominate committee chairs. And finally, as you know, voting during the AGM and EGM happened entirely online this year. To ensure a transparent process, we appointed Hervé Liguen and Julien Ménard as scrutineers, who counted the votes and verified the results.
As you might know, I'm ending my 8 years as a board member and my 3 years as a president. It has been a great pleasure to work with the directors, the staff, and the members. I have learned a lot from the stimulating interaction I had with many of you, and for that, I am extremely grateful. So to close this AGM, I would like to personally thank all past and current directors who taught me a lot, the staff for their unlimited energy and creativity, and you members for your dedication and support to make all this possible. I wish you a nice evening.